What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are doing well. In this video I'm going to be teaching you guys how to drive manual in my Nissan 370Z. So I know there's a lot of you guys out there that are looking to get your first manual car or just your first car in general, but you want it to be a manual and you're not really sure where to start on how to learn the process of driving manual. So I thought I'd just make this video teaching you guys how I learn and how I drive this car. So for those of you that are new to the channel, this is my 2015 370Z Nismo. Had it for a little over a year now, and it's pretty much bone stock, just a muffler delete and some minor cosmetic mods. But yeah, this is what I'm gonna be teaching you guys in, so let's get started. All right guys, so before we even get the car started and moving, we're gonna start from the very beginning and keep it very simple. So the first thing you're gonna notice when you walk into a manual transmission car is obviously going to be the pedals. So if you see there's three pedals. There's the gas, the brake, and the clutch. The clutch is the new pedal. And what you're also going to notice is the shifter is not your typical parking, drive, neutral, reverse shifter. It is going to be a stick. And so this stick is what's going to control your gears, and you have to manually put it into each gear. So all cars, typically most cars, are going to be, you're going to have first in the top left corner, and then you're going to have second all the way down to the bottom left corner. And then third is going to be up, straight up, and then fourth is going to be straight down. Fifth is going to be to the right and to the right corner. And then not all cars are going to have the sixth gear, but if they do have a sixth gear, it's just going to be the bottom right corner. And yeah, those are typically going to be your main gears. And reverse, we're not going to get into reverse right now, but most manual cars are pretty different in terms of reverse. For example, this car, you have to push down and to the bottom right. It's a little weird, but that's not important right now. So what's important is you know that it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and maybe sixth. All right, now that you've had a little practice shifting gears, another quick tip to point out is that manual cars don't have a parking gear. So when it's in this position, this is neutral, by the way. Whenever you can just move the car, the shifter around like this, it means it's in neutral. That's why you always see a lot of manual drivers shake this to make sure it's in neutral. But yeah, so when you're neutral, the car will roll if it's on a slope without the parking brake. So your parking brake is essentially your parking gear. So whenever this is off, you see I'm on a slope right now and I'm moving. So this is going to be your main way to keep the car from not moving whenever you park it. So before we actually get started on putting the car in gear and moving a little bit, I just want to give you a few tips. So if you're worried about stalling the car, especially if you're learning on someone else's car like your friends or family members, and you're worried about messing up the clutch, I just want you to know that stalling it a few times isn't going to ruin the car. So if you're worried about stalling it and you think it's going to ruin the car, don't worry about it too much. A few stalls isn't going to hurt anybody or the car at all, as long as they're okay with it. But yeah, I've stalled this car probably a good amount of times when first got it. But yeah, it's not too big of a deal, so don't worry about it too much. Another thing is that if you don't want to stall, and the best way to prevent a stall is the mindset to have when learning to drive manual is, when in doubt, put the clutch in. That's the best advice pretty much anybody has given me and anybody could give you on learning to drive manual, especially if you're worried about stalling. When in doubt, just push the clutch in. The car will never ever stall if you push the clutch in, if the clutch is all the way pushed down. And that's because the clutch isn't going to be able to engage in anything. So if you feel the car rattling a little bit and you feel like it's about to stall, just push the clutch all the way in and you're good. No matter whether you're in gear or neutral, the car will be safe. Okay, so now that we're ready to get started, I would recommend going out to an empty parking lot, preferably with just a big open space and on a flat surface, just so your car isn't going to be rolling backward and forwards once it's in neutral. First step is going to be put your foot on the brake pedal. Next step is going to be disengaging the parking brake. So go ahead and do that. Your car won't roll because your foot is on the brake, so no need to worry about that. And what we're going to be doing is get a little bit comfortable with the clutch pedal, push it in and out. And once you're good, push it in, and then you're going to be pushing your shifter into first gear. So first gear is to the left and top right, top left. Boom. So once it's in first gear, nothing will happen. You won't stall as long as your clutch is all the way in still and your brake. If you're on a really flat surface, you can even take your foot off the brake and it won't roll. As of right now, I'm on a flat surface, my car isn't moving at all, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now as you can see down there, literally my foot's not on the gas or the brake. It's literally just pushed, my left foot is just pushed down on the clutch and it's in first gear. Most cars will be able to start rolling without even touching gas, so that's what we're going to be doing here. I don't want you to worry about the gas at all, just be focused on the clutch pedal, and I want you to slowly, very slowly start releasing the clutch. Just keep releasing the clutch very slowly. And as you can see, it's starting to lift up and my car is starting to shake a little, but that's normal. Okay, now as you see, I am starting to roll. I am moving forward and my foot isn't even touching the gas. My foot is just slowly coming off the clutch and I'm moving. And some cars will even be able to fully start rolling and you can fully disengage the clutch without even touching gas. So I can see here, I'm moving, and boom, I'm fully disengaged from the clutch. I didn't even touch the gas and I'm moving. Now you will start to slow down, but once you do, just push the clutch back in and push your brake. So we're stopped. All right, so boom, hopefully you got the car moving a little bit without even touching the gas. And hopefully you were able to get an idea of where your engagement point on your car that you're learning in is. For example, the 370Z has a pretty high engagement point, so it's closer to the top. So this whole part right here down there isn't really doing anything until you get closer to the top. That's when it starts to engage and start to move a little bit. Do that a few times until you feel comfortable with where the engagement point is, and you'll build that muscle memory and on your foot, so you won't even have to really think about it. So now that you're ready to take it to the next step, what I want you to do is get comfortable with your gas pedal. And what I mean by that is get comfortable with reading the gas pedal and the RPM gauge. So this is the RPM gauge, tells you how high your engine is revving. And in automatic cars, you don't really pay attention to that too much, honestly. But in a manual car, it's very important because it tells you when to shift. When you're going to be taking off just from first gear, basic driving, I typically like to rev it up to 1.5 to 2,000 RPMs. I would say that's a good spot to just start from. So let's get started again. So foot on the brake, disengage parking brake, foot down the clutch, and put it into first gear. So once you're all set, this was just like how it was before, all normal. Only difference is now we're gonna take your foot off the brake. Hopefully you're on a flat surface so you don't have to worry about the car rolling, and start pushing the gas a little bit around to 1.5 to 2,000 RPMs. So once you're there, try to keep it steady there if you can, or just flutter a little bit around there. You're gonna start slowly take off your foot down the clutch again. Hopefully you got an idea of where your engagement point is. So bring it to the engagement point with your car still revving, and find that engagement point, slowly take off the clutch, and you should start moving quicker now. So we're moving now, and you can take off the clutch fully. And once you're ready to stop, just clutch in and brake in. Boom. And then put it back into neutral and you can take your foot off the clutch. Another very important thing to know when driving manual is when you're at the engagement point and you're already moving and you're ready to fully disengage, you don't want to just dump the clutch. You don't want to take your foot off very quickly, because that could make the car just jolt a little bit. You always want to have a smooth disengage, so just slowly take it off. I know it can be hard in the moment because you're thinking of so many things, but try your best to just slowly disengage your foot, because just dumping the clutch could hurt the clutch in the long run. So just try to build a good habit of slowly disengaging it. So hopefully after some practice, you were able to get the car moving a little bit with some gas. When thinking about it, it's really just kind of opposites. You're slowly disengaging the clutch while pushing the gas in, and just trying to find that balance in between. And like I said previously, a lot of it is just muscle memory. So after some practice, your feet are just gonna kind of get used to it, and you won't really have to think about it as much. Congrats if you were able to do that. You basically accomplished the hardest part of driving manual, which is getting moving. Getting moving is going to be the hardest thing all the time. Shifting gears, it may sound complicated, but if you can do first gear, you can do all the gears, and those are actually going to be easier than first gear. So once you're ready to take it to even the next level, which is going to be shifting gears into second, third, and above, what you're going to want to do is, it's really simple. Like I said, first gear is always going to be the hardest. Every other gear after that is going to be easier. So do the same thing, disengage parking brake, foot in clutch, and first gear, and then slowly take off some gas and releasing the clutch. Once you're fully disengaged from the clutch and you're on just a gas and you get to a high enough RPM, you're gonna re-engage the clutch, push it back in, shift it a second, and then literally repeat. So you're gonna release clutch again and give it some gas, and it should be the exact same way. And that's literally gonna be how it is for every other gear after that. All you have to do is basically get to a high enough RPM in that gear to switch gears, because you're not going to be shifting to 5th gear when you're going 10 miles an hour. That would stall the car. So yeah, like now I'm in 2nd, so if I go fast enough to like 2.5 RPMs, I can shift to 3rd and disengage. And a good thing to note is the higher the gear, usually the easier it is and smoother it is to shift into that gear, and the faster you can disengage the clutch. For example, when you're on the highway, you're shifting from 5th to 6th, you can release the clutch a lot quicker than it would be from 1st to 2nd. So just keep that in mind, which is why I say every gear after 1st gear is pretty much going to be progressively easier to shift into. So yeah guys, that's pretty much everything you need to know, just the basics of how to drive a manual car. We're not going to go into downshifting and all that, just because that's more of an advanced topic and it's not necessary for daily driving. When you're coming to a stop, you can always just put it in neutral. You don't have to downshift. You don't have to worry about that. That's just more advanced. You should look into that further down the road once you get comfortable with driving manual. But for now, this is the basics and all you need to start driving on the road. Well guys, that's pretty much going to be it for today's video. I really hope this video helped you out even just a little bit. I know there's a lot of manual driving videos out there, so I would recommend watching a few different ones and seeing different perspectives and different ways to learn. But this is how I learned. This is what I learned along the way. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a like and comment down below, and please subscribe if you haven't so already. This channel is mainly about 370Z content, so if you're into those, please subscribe and keep a lookout for more videos coming soon. Nonetheless, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.